Hello everyone, this is Phil, user PhD21 from the Linux Mint forums. One of the questions that pops up very frequently in the forum is how to post a screenshot or an image or images into the Linux Mint forum. So I decided to create a video tutorial showing 3 methods of getting your screenshots and images into this forum. The forum has a image upload size limit of around 100 kilobytes, which is pretty small. Whenever you take a screenshot of your desktop, chances are it's going to be a lot larger than that. It also depends on the size of your screen, your video resolution. The higher the screen resolution, the larger your screenshots and images are going to be. So how do you get your screenshots into the Linux Mint forum? One of the easiest ways is to upload the image to an image hosting website. There's many of them available. One of my favorites is postimage.org. IMGUR is another that's very popular. And all you have to do is upload your image to one of these image hosting sites and get what they call an address, a web address for the image, a URL, and then you can copy that back into the forum. And so the first method I'm going to show is that. If you go to, if you take a screenshot, and all you got to do is hit the print screen key. I'm using Linux Mint 17.3 KDE at the moment. There are 4 wonderful versions: Cinnamon, Mate, KDE, XFCE, 32-bit, and 64-bit. They all have screenshot programs. There's also third-party screenshot programs like the wonderful Shutter program that people can use. In the version I'm currently using, it uses a program called KSnapshot, which is a pretty nice one. If you take a screenshot, it's going to pop up and show a screenshot, and it usually saves it in a PNG image format. All you got to do is click save or save as, and pick a place to store it. Most people will store their screenshots underneath their pictures folder, which is great. Smart thing to do. I recommend creating a screenshots folder underneath that. If you are using a sandboxing program for your internet programs, like your browsers like Firefox, Opera, Google Chrome, or whatever, then it's probably a better idea to create your screenshots folder underneath your downloads folder, because it won't let you upload from any place other than your downloads folder, because the FireJail Sandbox program is to protect your system, and the only folder you'll be able to use is the downloads folder, unless you add a FireJail rule to whitelist a different folder like your pictures screenshots folder. Anyway, for this demonstration, I have created a screenshots folder underneath my downloads folder. I take a lot of screenshots because I help out a lot on the Linux Mint forums. So it's probably a good idea to create a subfolder by date. That helps you organize your screenshots better. So I'm going to create one. There's a little button to add a new folder, and today happens to be May 21st, so 05-21-2017. Click OK. The program I'm currently using to create a screenshot remembers the last name of the previous screenshot. I'm going to change that right now to desktop. and save that. Then I'm going to close that. Now, I like to have my file manager running as well. And on my desktop, that happens to be called Dolphin. It's different for the different versions of Linux Mint, but they all work fairly similar. The reason for that is if I'm going to resize or scale an image so that it can actually fit the Linux Mint forms, meaning it has to be a size like around 100 KB or less, it helps to be able to see what the size of the saved image is. Now, I just created this folder for today and saved an image in there, and now it's 223 KB. That's too large to put in the form. So I have to either upload it to an image hosting site where I don't have to do anything. I can just upload the image, or I have to resize it or scale it. Now, for this particular demonstration, I'm just going to upload it to postimage.org. Now, I have postimage.org on a tab in my browser. It's a free service. It's simple to sign up. You want to create your own account, because if you don't, most of these image hosting sites, if you just use a generic upload, they usually remove them after 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. And if you create your own account, well, then they're always there. Now, I obviously already have an account on there. And when you first sign up, their homepage says your images, in my case, my images. Pardon me. One of the first things it says is gallery name. That's just a category. You can create whatever category or gallery name that you want. Family, friends, Linux Mint forums, or you can do what I do, and for the Linux Mint forums anyway, I use a month and a year, and I create a gallery. Now, I have already created one for this month called May 2017. If I click that, it shows up with the images I have uploaded for this month in there. Now, it's really simple. All you gotta do is click upload, and then click choose images, browse to wherever your images are, and double click it. Now, it automatically comes up with various links, web addresses, URLs. I found the one that works the best for the Linux Mint forms is called Direct Link. And all you have to do is click the button on the far right of that, and it says copied. That means it copied it to your computer's memory, your clipboard. Then all you have to do is go back to where you're creating a post or a reply in the Linux Mint forums, and there's a button called RIMG, Remote Image. Click that, and then just right-click and paste, or Shift Insert. Now, that image will show up when I submit this reply or this post. That image will be there. I could add a title to it. Sample desktop screenshot. And I didn't have to edit anything. I didn't have to shrink the image. I didn't have to scale the image or process it. I didn't have to change it from PNG to JPEG or some other format. It was just uploaded to there, and get the web address URL and paste it back here. Now, I could have just pasted the URL and gone to the beginning of that and highlighted it, Shift End, and then clicked the RIMG button to do the same thing. So there's two methods to doing that. Now, you can also upload a lot of screenshots at the same time, the same way. If you do that, you'll end up with like a whole bunch of images. But you can always click one of the images and click. There's a little tool, if you let your cursor drift over one of the images, it pops up a little toolbar. Rotate, it gives you options, and one of them is called Share. If you click that, it pops up with the links, the links that you can use to share the image in an email. I mean, you could put it anywhere, not just a forum, emails, whatever. And again, the direct link is the one I prefer, and I could click the copy button, close that, go back to the Linuxmint forum, click the RIMG button in the toolbar, and then Shift Insert or right click Paste, and now that image is in there. That's how simple it is to use Post Image. And the other image hosting services work in a very similar manner. And if I click the Submit button, you can see the image is there. Now, one of the advantages of this is, even though it looks small on the forum, if you can click it or right-click it and open it in a new tab, then the image can be, it will show its full size. You can make your browser full screen. You can also click the image and make it even larger, and you can scroll up or down, or click it again to reduce the size. That makes it pretty convenient. Now, one of the other ways is to upload an image directly to the forum. This requires the user to manually resize, or what they call scale the image. You can use most of the image editors that are available to do that, and there's a lot of them. One of which that I prefer is called Color Paint. It's available in the Linux Mint Software Manager or Synaptic Package Manager, what they call the repos, as Color Paint 4. It shows up in your menus as Color Paint. It is a truly simple, easy to use image editor, and you can use it to reduce the image, resize the image, or what they call scale the image. You can also use it to highlight portions of the screen, and then save the image, or export the image. I found that JPEG images are much smaller than the PNG images. So what I will do is I will bring up my file manager. I have this screenshot. It's 223.9 kilobytes. It's got to be around 100 kilobytes or less. So if I already have the Color Paint program installed, so I can right-click this and say Open With, and pick any of the various image editors. I can use GIMP, MyPaint, Pinta. Color Paint, though, is one of the easiest. So I'm going to click that, and it pops up. It's fast. It's one of the fastest programs, Color Paint, to come up and to use. Now, the image, of course, is larger than the canvas that's displayed. You can change that by clicking View and click Fit to Page, if that helps. That makes it harder to read. Go back to actual size. Now, this is a truly simple way of reducing the image size. You click Image and select Resize or Scale. You could hit Control E as well. Now, I found that they have three options: resize, scale, or smooth scale. I prefer smooth scale myself. It works very well. My default screen size is 1400 by 900, the resolution. Yours could be different. The higher the screen resolution, the larger the image is going to be. So click on Keep the Aspect Ratio, and then under Percentage, this is where you have to experiment. I usually use like anything from 70 to 80%. You can if you double click it, you'll allow you to put that in there. It automatically changes the width and the height to 80%. And you can see it changed. The original was 1440 by 900, and the new one's 1152 by 720. Then I click OK. Now, if I save the image right now, and then I bring up my file manager, you can see that it just changed to 108. But that's still too large to fit in the form. Although they changed that recently. It's like I said, it's around 100 kilobytes. It was even less than that a little while ago. So what you can do is click File, Export, select Filter, which is the various image formats, and JPEG works really well. Add a name to it. I usually put a dash and SM for small, but you can put 2 or whatever, so it doesn't conflict with the original image. And then select a quality. And like I said, every image is different depending on the number of colors or what's on the screen that you took a screenshot of. You pretty much have to do this with every image, every screenshot. I found that 60 to 70% will usually get it below 100 KB, where I can upload it to the forum. But the only way to determine what the size is if you have your file manager above there. Now see, now it created a new one, and now it's 98.5. Now I could probably upload that, or I could just go back in, click File, Export, reduce the quality. It's still, to something less, let's say 60%. Click Save. Go back to, now it's only 86 KB. So I know that it will upload to the forum correctly. So I'm going to close Color Paint. Well, actually, in a second I'll close that. If you go back to the forum and click Attachments at the bottom, the tab called Attachments, there's a button that says Add Files. Just click Add Files and browse to where your screenshots are. And as you can see, you can click up at the top, say your username, or downloads or screenshots, wherever you have them, and it shows the sizes. So I'm going to use the one that I just exported. That's small enough to fit. Click Open. And it shows a green check mark to the right of that, which means it uploaded properly. If it was too large, you'll get a message that says image too large. Can't put it on here. It's got a file comment which shows up in the forum. So you could put desktop screenshot direct upload to forum, and then place your cursor anywhere you want. I usually put them below the other images, but if you might decide to put it like in this case, because it was a color paint example, I could put it right there and then just click place in line, and that image will show up right there. As you can see, and it has its own caption there that I typed in. Now, so there's two methods right there. Now, one of the nice things about using an image editor like Color Paint or GIMP or one of the others, Pentano, is that you can make edits to highlight things. I can use the toolbar functions here. I can use this. I use this a lot. I use this. I can use a rounded rectangle or a rectangle or a ellipse or various different options. Then I can click a color like red down at the bottom to highlight something, like Linux Mint Forums or right there. And if I don't like that, I can just click undo. Maybe choose a thicker line. And then I can make a highlight. I can click over just a line and say, Linux Mint Forums. You can also erase things. I can click on the eraser. If you've got something on the screen like an email address or some kind of information you don't want somebody to see, you can click the eraser button and then pick a size. There's various sizes. You'll have to experiment with that to erase something on the screen. I'm trying to find something to erase here. I wouldn't want on there, but like right here, I'll go up here and I'll just erase something here. That's how simple that is. Now, of course, it also depends on the color. If you're going to erase something, if you don't care, the default is going to be a white box. If I try to erase something, it's going to be white. Now I'm going to undo that temporarily and show you that I can also click this dropper, what looks like a dropper. It's called Color Picker, and I can click that. Then I can right click on any color on the image, which makes it easier to erase something and have it look nice. So if I click here, now you can see the color down at the bottom here is whatever I right clicked. Now if I erase something, that looks much nicer than just a white eraser mark. And I can undo that again. And I can do that. I can click that again. I could go, right click here. I can go. So it's pretty convenient. You can also link things. I can draw a line to here, create a little arrow to point something out. It's pretty convenient, very handy. Back to the square and highlight. That's one of the advantages of using an image editor, is that you can let people know. You can highlight certain portions of your image if you need to. If you just upload an image directly, there's usually no way to edit that. Of course, you could edit it and then upload the image if you wanted to, instead of resizing and all that. Anyway, and now I can save the image as is, or I can export it. I'm going to export it again. This time I'm going to call it desktop 2 and click save. Bring up my file manager to make sure that desktop 2 is small enough, and it is. It's below 100K, so I could upload that. Okay, now that's how to use. That's a very quick tutorial on how to use Color Paint. There's much more that you can do. One of the other things you could do is to not use the entire screenshot. Let's say I just wanted the browser window and not the rest of the screen. I can click Image. Pardon me. I can click the Selection tool, like this rectangular selection tool, or I can click a different selection tool. I usually use the rectangular one, and it shows a crosshair. You just click your mouse and hold it, and then highlight the window, and it draws a little dotted box around whatever you just selected. Then you can click Selection and then Set Image. Now you notice now instead of the entire desktop, I've got just that image of what I selected. Now sometimes you can just save that and it's automatically small enough because I'm only using a portion of the screen. So it's automatically small enough to fit in the form. Again, if it's not, which you can verify by going to your file manager, you can just export it and reduce the image quality. Now you can do that through the screenshot programs as well, which I'm going to show you right now. Here's a screen. Now if I just wanted a portion of the screen, and a lot of times that is, that'll work and you won't have to do anything. It'll be small enough to put up on the Linux Mint forums directly. The screenshot programs have a nice feature called snapshot delay, which you don't, which I'll explain in a moment. But as you can see, it showed. I just took a screenshot and it showed the whole screen. But usually there are what they call capture modes: full screen, the window under the cursor, a rectangular region, freehand region, or a section of the window. If you select the rectangular region, for instance, and you tell it to take a new snapshot. In this case, it popped up and said, "Okay, now select a portion of the screen." And there's a little crosshair; it's hard to see, but it's there. And I could just go click and hold the mouse and drag it to select a portion of the screen. And then you either double click or hit enter. And just that portion of the screen now is part of it. If I've got multiple windows open, I'm going to minimize that. Like my browser window and this one. I can tell the screenshot program to pick the window under the cursor. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to increase the snapshot delay so it gives me time to focus, put the cursor over the window I want. Take a snapshot. And you see it picked just the window. And like I said, sometimes when you pick just a portion of the screen, it'll be small enough to directly upload to the forum. If not, you can edit it or just upload it directly to an image hosting site. All right, now I have multiple virtual desktops on It's just one computer, but I have multiple virtual desktops. I'm going to close the one screen. Now, another great program that's available in the Synaptic Package Manager or the Software Manager is called Conversine. It's an absolutely superb, simple to use image conversion program, but it can also be used to resize or scale. If you want to convert an image from PNG to JPEG or some other format, and you can do multiple images at one time. If you go into your menu and go under graphics, it's called Conversine. I'm going to minimize this. Okay, now, if you make the application full screen or resize it so you can see all the options, that might be easier for some people. In fact, I'll make it full screen for right now. You can click Open Images or Add Images to add images to the program. And since I'm using a Screenshots folder underneath my Downloads folder, I have to browse to that. Now I could add a whole bunch of images at one time, and it adds them here, and I can. Now you can see all these images are over 100 KB. I want to check them all because I want to process them all. If I click one, it'll preview it over here. There's an option underneath on the right hand side, lower right hand side, called Conversion Formats. You can leave it alone. I always select JPEG, JPG, because that seems to work pretty well. And then I click Image Settings and change the quality to, like, somewhere between 60 and 70. Click OK. Now these settings underneath the conversion format, where I convert to JPEG, and the image settings, they'll stay there. The next time I bring up Conversine, they'll be there. The ones on the left now, that's different. If you scroll down on the left, there's an option under Dimensions called Scale Image, and you click that. Click Maintain Aspect Ratio. You can click in here and pick something between like 70 and 80% or less. I usually use 80%, and then click the Tab key, so it changes the width automatically. They both should be 80%. I could use a different thing. If I wanted to, I could use pixel and put in an actual size, like 1280 by 720. But I think it's easier just to use a percentage. Then scroll down further, and it says, where do you want to output the images? You could click the same folder as the image is in, and tell it, and click Rename, and it will add, copy, the word copy to it, which is kind of convenient. Or you can specify a new directory for these converted images to be in. Now, I'm just going to use the same image directory. Then all you got to do is click Convert. And it's very fast. It's already done. And I could tell it to open the destination, which would open up your file manager. But I already have my file manager open, so I'm going to click Close. Now I have to see if the images are small enough to fit in the forum. Now you can see where it's added the word copy to each one, and they're below 100 KB in this case, and in that case. But depending on the image, it may not be. And if you look at the third image of the ones I converted, the one image is still 128. It's too large, even though the other two converted properly. Resized below 100 KB. You can see it there, and you can see it here, but this one did not. So I can go back and either just select that last one, or I can just reconvert all of them and select, I can scale the image lower, or I could reduce the quality setting to 60 and tell it to reconvert, which it just did. Now I go back in, bring up my file manager, make sure to see, if I got smaller ones now. But it's still 113 KB, which probably won't upload. So I can unselect these two because they're already below 100 KB. Leave the third one, which didn't, and then I can lower the. I can scale the image to less than 80%. Let's try 76%, and tell it to convert that. And it did. Go back to my file manager and see if I'm below that, and it's still at 102. Now that might upload, it might not. I'm going to reduce it even lower. Go back to 70%. Tell it to convert it again. Click close. And now it's below. Now the image still looks great. As you can see, it's perfectly visible. I can see it very well. So that's one of the, Conversine is just an absolutely excellent program. And there are many, you can convert, not just for resizing or scaling images, but it can convert various different formats, including unusual camera formats, Nikon, Canon, and stuff like that, into more common formats that, like JPEG or PNG and stuff like that. So it's a great program to have installed. I always install this. So there's 3 different options I just showed you on how to get images or screenshots into the Linux Mint forums. Now, since I just resized those images, I could attach those. Just go to the bottom where I'm making a post or a reply, click Add Files, go to where I just resized and pick the ones that I just converted to less than 100 KB. Click that one. If you hold down your if they're consecutive, you could just click the first one and hold down the Shift key and then click at the bottom. It'll highlight them all. If they're not, in this case they're not, because the one copy is here, the other copy's there, and another copy here, then you can click the first one, hold down your Control key, and then click the second one, and then the third one, and then just click Open. And you can see it added them to the format. Why did it pick that one? And you can put in descriptions, for what they are. In this case, I didn't really need to put them in this post. Those images were actually for another post. Anyway, I hope that helped clarify on how to easily upload a screenshot to the Linux Mint forums. Anyway, have a great day.